Niching down is really for the purpose of growing your channel. Doesn't mean you don't actually have to niche down, as long as your expectations are in line with what that means, which means you'll have some videos that get a lot of views and some videos that get almost no views. That's just the expectation. But if you're trying to grow a channel, and exactly what this creator says is that they want to make it a business and all this other stuff, they have to look at something that A, is something that they are really passionate about and they can see themselves making videos on for years to come, hundreds of videos about the same basic subject over and over.
You make it sound like a trap.
And over and over again. Now, once you've figured that out, you can do some research on YouTube and see what other type of creators are growing in that space and if they're successful. Some niches don't have like large creators. They may cap out at like 20 or 30,000 subscribers. And that might be it. That might be the top of where the interest is, the total addressable market, the TAM as they call it. And others will have larger ones where you have millions of subscriber channels out there. So once you figure out that and you're like, yeah, I like this, for example, fitness. Now, of course, fitness is huge. You're absolutely going to be able to create a channel that is very successful in fitness if you do all the right things. So now your next step is look at who's successful in there. Look at the time that they're putting into their channel. Very likely it will be intimidating. And it should be intimidating because if you're trying to make this a full-time thing, you need to make sure that you are 100% behind it. If none of that scares you, you look at these successful channels and you're like, I can do that. Great. Start to make a plan of the type of content that is working on the channels, especially smaller channels in that niche, and start making your own version of those videos, which means thumbnails, titles, topics, the way you're going to do it, how your editing is going to look. All of those things are things you should be writing down before you even start to do it. I know most creators are like, I just want to do it. Fine. But again, your expectations should be in line with the work you're putting in. If you're putting in extra work to really figure out what works on YouTube and then do that thing, your expectation is it should perform pretty well. If you're just randomly putting stuff up, then you should put the expectation that random things are going to happen to your views. Sometimes they'll be okay, sometimes not so much.
That's the truth. Plus, you don't have to think of, niching down as like, I do hear this from a lot of creators. Well, I don't want to get stuck in that. And I don't want to do that forever and then never, be able to do anything else. And that's not necessarily the case. If you think about even just like using this fitness channel as an example, there are so many kinds of fitness channels. It is mind-blowing. The type of fitness content that you want to make is where you can go and explore with, what do you actually want to make? Are you focusing on, your routines of bulking and cutting? Are you actually, making routines for people to follow along with? Are you focusing more on the nutritional side of things? Like there is almost like an infinite amount of places that you can go. And this is why, so many channels are super successful. They're all offering slightly different values. But that's where you creatively get to experiment and see, what feels right. What do you like to create? What do you enjoy creating, especially in the beginning stages? And then once you kind of figure out, I like this felt good. The repetition is so, so important. But the experimental process of trying to figure that out is kind of the fun part, but also totally normal for videos to flop, videos to do, better than others. This is when you figure that out, because once you figure that out and you're like, go, 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 things will be, pretty smooth sailing.